Let's go. Welcome back to this episode 5 of the MVP Sports and Fantasy Podcast. My name is Tyler Johnson, and with me, as always, is Ryan Elke. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk baseball later in the episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of
It's
big,
my favorite
big
sport.
moves.
A lot of stuff finally happened, man. So we can talk about it.
And I'm
How
excited
you
as
doing?
well. There's a ton of news that we're going to talk about in the NFL. We're kind of just going to go over in this episode trade rumors, free agency rumors. We're going to go over what teams are looking at what players. We're going to jump into a couple of questions. We're going to do a couple of NFL fantasy dynasty questions, and then we're also going to do a couple of drafting position trade questions, and that's all for the NFL fantasy football. And then after that, we're going to go right into the free agency and MLB talk, and it's got the big names there. So definitely stick around for the MLB talk. A lot of money at the end. I know that here in Wisconsin over the last couple weeks, I know Ryan, you were sick. You were feeling down last week, and the weather has been the same. I mean, today was freezing. I know you were probably freezing out there too.
Man, I had a cold that lasted 2+ weeks, dude. I literally couldn't even talk, so it was pretty rough.
Well, up in the north, we're getting hit hard with that cold wind. It just eats right through you. The wind chills are below zero every day, so it's been
coldest day here in March on this day in 78 years. So that should say something right there.
and you can feel it, especially when you walk outside and it just hits you. It just takes your breath away. So living in Wisconsin's not the ideal place to be, that's for sure.
No, it's not. But I guess you can say we're used to it, but I don't think you can ever get used to something like that.
No, I mean it gives you extra time to stay inside and play Apex, because I know me and you are
Apex
both
Legends.
big. We're big into the Apex that just came out. We're big gaming nerds also, and we grew up with gaming as long as we grew up with football and sports. So
They basically went side by side my whole life. Gaming and sports, it's literally 50-50 split. So that's basically all I do.
living the life. Well, we're gonna jump into the NFL news then. We're just gonna kind of go over some points throughout the week, some that we missed, some teams looking for players. The first one we're going to talk about is the Kyler Murray. Raiders coach John Gruden reportedly loves Kyler Murray. What are your thoughts on that, Ryan? You think that he's even going to be able to draft Kyler?
See, I feel if the reports are true, I know the Arizona head coach, he has ties with Kyler Murray and he really likes him, but I think it would be foolish if the Cardinals took him. They just traded up last year to what, number 10 to draft Rosen?
Yeah.
I feel like there's no way they can capitalize on that value, but it's a whole new regime in Arizona, so I could see him coming off the board at 1. And John Gruden, I feel maybe smokescreen. I don't know what he's doing. I don't think that's not his type of quarterback. I think next year's draft class where the quarterbacks are dominant is when he'll jump in for that franchise guy.
Especially this year. It's even though a lot of people say Kyler should not have gone to the NFL, should have gone to the MLB, but this is a good year for him to come in as the top quarterback, when next year it's going to be kind of an overflow of people you can take. So he's going to make more money this year than he would have going into next year's draft.
What I feel. It was a big reason why he made that decision, though, is because of the weak quarterback class and the potential of going top 10. And now, I think he's almost a lock to do so.
I would definitely say a lock too. I mean, how poorly quarterbacks were this last season only makes him look better, and it's going to be hard for. I mean, they pushed up his height, and it's going to be hard for him as a quarterback.
He's officially listed at 5'10", but I don't know, man. He's a dynamic athlete, so we'll see. I feel he's a lot better passer than Lamar Jackson. So,
and him as a quarterback,
he can be more effective, possibly.
Yeah, and him as a quarterback, he's going to be very good for fantasy, because he's going to get all those extra running yards, and he's going to be a dual threat. So it's going to be goal line situations, put in the right situation, he can get a lot of touchdowns if he plays right away. And
it's definitely a guy I'm going to keep my eye on just for the fun of the game. Like, he's going to make the game look fun to watch. It's going to be entertaining when he's on the field.
Yes, for sure. And then talking about Josh Rosen, moving on to our next topic was Josh Rosen will likely be traded to Washington before free agency
The
starts. And
Redskins, yeah, that's the potential. I feel Redskins are a great fit. Alex Smith is old, and he's coming off that broken
yeah,
leg, and that's kind of worrisome. They could use a nice fresh boost on like a young quarterback.
and Rosen was an
Um,
excellent quarterback
yeah,
coming out of college.
he
It's
was.
he
I
had a bad
literally
season, but
when I went over the draft and I watched some film and stuff like that. I went out on a limb and said he was going to be the best quarterback in the draft, but we'll
and
see. He didn't have. I don't know.
a few people even said
Yeah,
that same thing. They said Rosen's probably the best quarterback coming out of that draft class,
I
and I
felt
think
like
he
he
was
was the
just
best
put,
overall guy.
yeah, he's put in just a poor situation, and he was just thrown in there. I think the Cardinals, the way they were coached, was just not to his benefit. You have a lot of good people around him. You need to get the offensive line, and he needs to either sit behind somebody and learn, or be
Yep.
put into a better situation.
I
So
would love for him to be traded to Detroit for like a third round pick and sit
yeah,
behind Stafford for like 3 years.
he could build up into something great. So I think
I
that he
feel
just
the
needs a
same
little,
way.
yeah. So don't get him hurt just sitting there taking all these sacks. You need to either put him behind a veteran or get him in a better situation. So going to Washington, I mean, Alex Smith, even being injured, if he doesn't play, he can still help Rosen a lot more than
Yeah, oh
being
for
in
sure.
Arizona.
With the knowledge and that he brings, it would help him for sure.
Yeah, I would love
It's a
for
good
a
fit.
backup quarterback to learn behind Alex Smith because being the same, Alex Smith, you don't really look at him as an all-star, but he's a solid quarterback. And he just like Rosen, he started right away, right when he was drafted. If
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's kind of the same situation.
Well, Rosen, he started at what, at week 2 or 3, whatever.
Yeah.
Sam Bradford started, but he was absolutely horrendous.
Yep.
He may have started the second game of the year, but I know Bradford came in week 1. I don't. That was a while ago, but he was just ineffective. So they threw Rosen in there and said, "All right, here we go. Let's see what we have."
Yep.
So I
And
feel maybe he wasn't even prepared.
yeah, it could be. And talking about like the Arizona Cardinals, and then you have Washington Redskins, and then also the third team kind of in this love triangle is the Dolphins. And the
Good.
Dolphins has
That's a good fit.
yeah, well, the Dolphins stated that they weren't interested in Josh Rosen, but then it kind
They're
of moves you.
saying that. They're interested. They're just saying that so they don't have to give up a whole bunch, so
Yeah,
they
because
can let
they're
his
already
value
talking
go
about
down.
trading Tannehill to uh, the Redskins as well. So the Redskins are kind of looking at Rosen and Tannehill.
Sounds like they're definitely in the market for a quarterback. That's for sure.
Yeah, so it gives you kind of an idea of what their mindset is for Alex Smith. And really, I definitely do not want Tannehill if I'm Washington. You
Nah,
if you
he's
can
got
get
too many
Rosen,
injury concerns.
yeah, if you can get Rosen for a good price, you have to take Rosen. And
Third round pick. That's what executives are saying. That's all they're going to get for him is a third round pick because his value's already diminished by how they came out with the reports on how they're interested in Kyler Murray and stuff.
yeah,
Third round pick for Josh Rosen. That's all day, dude. You know who honestly should do it?
who?
I hope they don't. The Patriots. It's
Oh,
perfect.
it makes sense.
It's perfect, dude.
Have
It's
him sit
perfect.
behind Brady and
Couple years, 2 years,
oh,
man. And then Rosen steps right in, and he's the next.
the next Garoppolo.
Oh man, that literally just came to my head. I'm like, oh, I hope that doesn't happen.
Oh my goodness.
I could
Hey,
see it happening for sure.
but the coaching staff and having Brady over there, it would make a you could make a hell of a quarterback if you wanted to
He
have
can't
somebody
put him in a
behind him.
better situation if he's going to wait for 2 years or whatever to learn. Well, look what
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers did. He sat what 3, 4 years behind Brett Favre.
and it worked
Not that
out.
Brett Favre gave him anything to learn, but he watched. That's all he learned.
Yep. So you have the Dolphins that are talking to the Redskins. You have the Cardinals talking to the Redskins. That frees up a quarterback position for the Dolphins and for the Cardinals. So there's a couple people out there still. I know Foles is. We'll be talking about him a little bit later. But who do you think the Dolphins and the Cardinals are looking at? I mean, the Cardinals obviously could be looking at Kyler at the first pick, but being the Dolphins getting rid of Tannehill, I mean, who could they go for? You have any ideas?
What about Haskins from Ohio State? I mean, he'll be the next quarterback off the board after Kyler Murray.
If they want to take a draft,
Yeah,
uh,
if they're gonna draft QB,
yeah,
I feel they're going to. They have the 13th pick. I think that's
yeah,
probably a good spot to do so.
okay, I can see that. I mean, and if something, just wait until this draft happens because really, there's a lot of teams up in the air right now. People are
Oh,
trying
for
to make
sure.
moves beforehand, and it could go all the way up to someone might trade up, or they might use that top pick to trade down. So
I know in our previous podcast, I predicted Kyler Murray going to the Dolphins at 13, and I don't
yeah.
think he's going to make it there. I truly believe he's going to be in the top five.
Well, and after all the news of teams interested in him, we didn't even know that there was this many teams
Yep.
that were
Yep.
going to take a shot at him. So, yeah,
He's an electric player, so he is the
and like
well
you said, he's
besides
exciting. He's
yeah.
going to be exciting to watch, and that just brings people to come watch him. So any team that gets him is going to also bring people to the seats. So,
Yep.
but moving on to I guess the next quarterback, our Jaguars are likely to release Blake Bortles, and then that only opens up for Nick Foles is rumored to go to the Jaguars.
I
And
last thing I read, it's pretty much a lock.
yeah,
They're gonna agree to terms. I think fairly quickly, and that's. I'm just worried that he'll be the next Case Keenum.
oh yeah, I have that same
Overpaid.
worry.
Has he played a full 16-game season? I don't.
I mean,
I mean,
in
don't quote me on
Philadelphia,
it. This is off the top of my head, but I don't think so.
if anything, he's gotten the start for a majority of the season and has kind of been underwhelming as a quarterback. He just seems like someone who's done very well in a short period of time, and people are going to pay for that, and they're not paying for kind of what he's worth. I think. I think he's going to be a good fit for a team, but he's not going to be that MVP caliber Super Bowl quarterback that you're going for. He's just a different person in the playoffs. It seems
He'll
like.
be the stop. He'll be the guy that's going to take over until you can find the franchise quarterback. That's what he is.
Yeah, I can see that where you kind of sit a rookie behind him
Yeah,
after like
it's not a
one
bad
season.
idea. I mean, Jacksonville still has a decent defense.
Yeah, Nick Foles has a lot of experience behind him, and he's led some good offenses. So, and other teams that are kind of interested in him, even though the Jaguars are the fit for him right now, Dolphins, Redskins, Giants are all possible teams. So, I mean,
I
anybody
like
that's
Nick Foles to the Giants, man. If they're gonna go away from Eli, which I don't think I think they're gonna give him one more year, and they'll maybe
well,
unintentional or try to tank again and go
yeah,
for that franchise quarterback next year.
well, I'm unsure of where the Giants are drafting, but Kyler also threw out the statement that he would love to play in New York. So
Not a bad idea. Nice marketing tool over there. I mean, it's the perfect place to put your brand right there
yeah,
in New York.
I mean, I think he said in his post he'd love to play next to Saquon and Odell. So it'd be interesting. See, just him as a player, like you said, would be interesting to watch no matter where he goes. But you definitely want to see him in a place where he could succeed and then show off all of his talents. Because you throw him in like Arizona, I mean, you have DJ. I guess it's not the worst situation.
You got Fitz for another year,
Yeah,
safety blanket type guy, but beyond that, nah.
yeah. Like if you went to like the Raiders or you went to the Dolphins, it's kind of like, oh man, it sucks to see a talent probably go to waste just behind a bad offense. So it
For
is.
sure.
So then moving on to Larry Fitzgerald, we were just talking about him. He kind of put his 2 cents about Antonio Brown and telling him to be very cautious of what he says and his trade demands. And that's coming from a very smart, educated Larry Fitzgerald. So I think you get kind of an insight of what other players are thinking about this Antonio Brown situation.
Oh my
And
God! Do you see this guy? Did you hear the last interview with him?
yes, when he was sitting down, was he
That's
the one with
that's
LeBron or the
horrible.
one where he's sitting with the ESPN?
Reporter in his
Yeah.
house, dude, where he's like, oh, or basically he said, if they're not gonna do what I want to do, like that kind of attitude, like I don't have to play. They just basically the world revolves around him. Like, nah, dude, you're done.
It's rough.
That's
It's rough
horrible.
to hear.
Just
Other-
sit out then. Sit out. No one's gonna trade for you with that kind of attitude. Like
Yeah.
I truly believe he has a mental health issue that he needs help with.
Just like overconfidence or the ego that he has or his
The
mindset.
ego has overtaken him. He's not the Antonio Brown that of old. It's just not. He has
And you
something
hear-
going on.
You see some of the tweets and you see like the interviews, and you just gotta wonder, like, is this what the same person was in the locker room? And maybe this is the reason why he's splitting from Pittsburgh. It's not because Big Ben is terrible to him, but maybe he's just a hard person to get along with. And
Yeah, I think that might be it.
so
it's it's just too much investment to trade for a guy like that and take on a salary, and
Yep.
he wants a new contract, and the dude can literally just walk off at any moment because he doesn't quote unquote need the game. It's like, no, man, we're not gonna. Your trade
Yeah.
value is literally like a 6th round pick now because of these comments. Honestly,
Yeah. And
that's
how do you
all it's
feel?
worth.
How do you feel as the other team that's going for him, and then your fans are kind of like, they've seen all this, and all you put so much money towards the guy, and really he's a good
It's a
wide
mistake.
receiver, but he's really hurting his
It's gonna be a mistake whoever picks him up. I feel that.
yeah. So we'll kind of talk about him a little bit later, but we won't get too far into the Brown saga. This is kind of a smaller one, but Duke Johnson is drawing trade interest from multiple teams, and I think that he's going to be an excellent fit, kind of just like a Tevin Coleman, where he's going to
I
slide
would
right
love
behind.
to see him with actual opportunity.
He's going to slide, and just think, 2 years ago he was a monster. He was
pretty good, yeah.
he was a PPR machine, and
Dude, I
then
think
just
he was
his
the leading rusher at Miami.
yeah.
I think.
It sounds right, or at least he was a dominant college athlete, and
Yeah,
now
they had some dominant backs come out of there. What, Frank Gore, Edgerrin James, and then Duke Johnson's the school's leading rusher. He's got
Yep.
talent.
and then he's sitting behind and he's like rotting away behind the
Nick
Browns.
Chubb's a beast, though. So
No, I know. Nick Chubb's
yeah.
took all of the carries, and then they had Hyde also. So
and now they got Hunt. So he's definitely out. He's gone.
yeah, and I can
Johnson.
see a team really using him too. I hope he doesn't go to kind of like a side team. I hope he goes behind like a Saquon or like
That'll be a good fit.
a big name like just trying to think, but then
Take
Saquon
some
can
miles
catch
off
also.
Saquon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
just a
true.
team where you got a runner and you are looking for this back. I mean, you could. What if he goes to? I know that.
Let C.J. Anderson go and sign him over there in L.A.
Yeah, you could do that, and then also like Atlanta if he took Coleman's spot. But I know they're using what's his name for behind.
Ito Smith is not good.
Yeah, he's not.
You can find Ito Smith anywhere in the draft.
Yeah. So I could see him being a new Coleman. So it'll be interesting. I'd like to see what team he goes to because, like I said, I drafted him last year, just knowing that he is a PPR machine. So hopefully we get what we wanted last year out of him this year.
Yep.
Moving on to the Bengals. They're highly unlikely to trade A.J. Green. A.J. Green coming off that injury. I think he comes back to the same wide receiver. Maybe they use Tyler Boyd a little bit more, but
my early prediction was AJ Green would be traded or released. So we'll see. Yep. I still think so. They're gonna go in a different direction. He's older guy. He gets banged up easily. Why not capitalize on it? I would trade him, get a 3rd round, 4th round, whatever you can.
yeah, and maybe if they say
on.
something like this and they're just trying to bump up his value a little bit,
Yep.
and then they're hoping that somebody buys him by his name.
Plenty of teams out there that could use an AJ Green for real. Like Detroit would be great.
And
New
just use
England
him as
could
that
use
big
him
man.
too. Even Green Bay opposite of Adams would be excellent. That would be like the new Jordy Nelson because I haven't seen anybody but Jordy Nelson and AJ Green make these sideline catches. Just make it look so easy. It would be a perfect fit in Green Bay too.
He kind of reminds you of that.
He's got great footwork and hands.
Getting older, he turns into like that Demarius Thomas / who was that tall wide receiver at Houston that stayed and Johnson.
Stevie? Yeah. You talking about Stevie Johnson? The old Bill?
No, I'm talking about the tall wide receiver in Houston, the Texans, and he stayed there forever. Oh my goodness. Andre Johnson. Kind of reminds you of how he gets older and slower, and then yeah.
Hey, that's a pretty good comparison, actually. That's kind of how his career is trending.
So hopefully he's still explosive. It's hard to watch these high-end wide receivers that get hurt and all of a sudden they fall off. I mean, you see Demarius Thomas having other issues, but that one injury and all of a sudden you're probably not going to see him. So talking about another high-end wide receiver, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are talking about how Amari Cooper doesn't make them miss their number 1 pick. And I think that looking back on it, having Amari Cooper is definitely a lot better than probably it's for the time being better than having that number 1 pick, depending on what you
know. They didn't use Amari right. That's it. As simple as that. It was 2 years in a row. Old coach, new coach. They didn't use him right.
Yeah, and they need someone to complement him also. I mean, he's out there by himself, so
Well, it was a perfect fit to go to Dallas. They got Zeke. They have to stack the box. He's going to destroy you, so that gives Amari Cooper a lot of one-on-ones, and he can tear them up.
Yeah, maybe Cowboys fans are really thinking they have a chance with Witten signing that 1-year deal.
I mean, he's a chain mover, but he's not gonna be nothing too special.
No, the box out. He's just a big body. Hopefully he was
Witten
staying in
just knew he
shape.
couldn't make it in the booth, so he's like, all right, I'm gonna go get another check.
Yep, he's gonna make $5 million.
Yep.
Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Not too bad.
I'll take a little bit of that, I guess. Okay, next we got Todd Gurley's knee injury with the arthritis. So I wouldn't say a knee injury, but
Yeah, arthritis in the knee is not good.
yeah, it's gonna linger. And
I'm staying away in fantasy unless he drops the mid first round.
And this really shows that he might not be a workhorse ever again.
Well, he tore his ACL in college too, so
you got to put someone behind him, and they're gonna
Duke Johnson.
That's what I'm saying. Either they get Duke or like CJ if they keep CJ, but you want to see somebody.
CJ, he did well.
Somebody explosive. So it's hard because I'm not gonna touch Todd Gurley, and he'll probably be on the same list as like how Le'Veon Bell was for you this year, where it's kind of like, hey, let somebody else take him. I wouldn't even draft him in the first.
Le'Veon fell to me at 7 in our draft, and I still passed.
Yeah,
and you bid on him.
Yeah, see what I mean? So he might be
everyone
another.
Was like, how could you not take Le'Veon Bell? He's a top 2 talent. I'm like, man, there's too much going on with him. I can't even risk it.
I mean, I'm gonna drop him.
Traded out.
Probably to like number 5 or 6, maybe even farther than that in running backs.
I think right now he's middle of the second round. I think he's going. Him and Brown are both about the same spot, and that's too dangerous for me. I can't touch either of them right there.
Yeah,
depending where they go, obviously, but
I totally agree. And I think next week we definitely need to go over the drafting. We'll just kind of do
sure.
like
I would love to just a little 2-round mock draft or talk about it. Or that'd be awesome.
And we'll do an overview of where people are going right now, and then kind of give our analysis on if we think it's too high, too low.
Some early 2019 rankings. I know it's only March and the rookie draft didn't happen. That's still 2 months away, but it's still fun to go over and see. Then we can look back at it once the actual 6 months from now when the season starts and just see what we had.
And I think it's good too to look at, because really the first 2 rounds they change a little bit, but depending on like a couple of trades here and there. But you have the same guys up there, and it's just kind of our idea of where we want to put them.
Yep.
So, all right, moving on to the next one, we have Broncos, Cardinals, and Raiders have no interest in Antonio Brown. So you're kind of seeing these. They're coming out with like the low market teams that have the money to spend on them, but nobody wants to bid.
They don't want that distraction.
Yep. So going back to kind of our last point, you're going to see more and more teams come out and say, hey, we're not going to take Antonio Brown, and the person that's going to lose the most out of all this is going to be the Steelers. So
is the Steelers?
Yeah,
that's what it is. They're losing all this compensation.
Yep, and then teams are just going to keep saying no. Brown's going to keep talking crazy, and before you know it, Brown's
he's not going to be traded, and he might even be forced to retire if he's not going to come back to Pittsburgh. I think he's already worn out his welcome there. I don't even know if the fans even want him. Honestly, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Why would someone want that guy on their team, dude? Unless he completely changes his attitude, there's no reason.
Well, and then talk about his teammate here. The rumors for Le'Veon Bell and Tevin Coleman is going to be the Jets. And it's kind of funny that the Jets would come out and say that they're the favorites for Le'Veon Bell, but they're also interested in Tevin Coleman. What do you think about if that were both to go to that team, the 1-2 punch, or do you think Le'Veon Bell can handle it all?
That would be a lot of money to invest in both of them, but it's honestly not a bad combo at all because you want to keep Le'Veon Bell fresh as well, and Tevin Coleman has already shown he can do well in that role. But I think Tevin Coleman's going to San Francisco.
Okay.
Go back with Shanahan, and then depending on McKinnon's health, McKinnon Tevin Coleman combo would be honestly that's not bad at all. That's nice.
Yeah, it's two very good PPR backs in one area.
There'll be a lot of money tied up in their running backs because I know McKinnon's. I think his average salary is like $7 million a year, so we'll see.
Well, in the Jets, they just released Crowell, but they still have Powell. I'm pretty sure they still have Powell, and then McGuire.
They do, but they're gonna
release him.
I think.
Yeah,
they're definitely signing a running back. I want Bill to go to the Colts.
Now see that would be just way too greedy of you.
No. I want to see it.
It's like You want to?
Marlon
I want to
Mack,
see.
he's not even reliable. So Bell and Mack combo would be nice, and then you'd have your little change of pace guy.
I'd like to see Bell go to Houston. I think Houston would be fun
That's
to
not
watch.
bad either. That would be good.
And
They're
do they
probably
still
then
have
they'll
Lamar
cut
Miller?
Lamar Miller. No, they
Yeah,
still got him under contract. He's making a
okay.
decent amount of money, but I'm pretty sure they could probably cut him right now and save a whole bunch of money. So
That would be such a dynamic offense. Holy
it
cow!
would be
But
Watson, Hopkins, Bell. That's dangerous. With a good defense, depending on what they do with the Texans just franchise tagged Jadeveon Clowney, so they have their
yep,
edge rusher
I saw
back.
it.
Honey Badger, they're trying to rework a deal, but we'll see if he comes back.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. How old is Watt? Do you know? Is he
JJ Watt, he's up there. He's got to be like 30
okay?
now, maybe
I was gonna
31.
say like right on 30 or low 30s.
Still dominated though
Yeah,
last year even.
yeah, he's such a big body, and I don't see him slowing down yet. Going over to everyone's favorite team, the Patriots. Starting off, we have Rob Gronkowski, who said his decision will be made depending on what the team does. And then going on to the next story is the Patriots are being aggressive in the trade market for a top wide receiver. So
Boy.
you know that Rob Gronkowski said that, and the Patriots are like, all right. I mean, they did the same thing for Tom Brady, where they're like, your request, we want you, we're gonna go do it. So I can see them making a move now to pick up a wide receiver, but top wide receiver.
Please don't be Odell. Please. That's my favorite receiver. If he goes to the Patriots, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, I think they're gonna pick up Tate though, Golden Tate.
I could see it. I hate Golden Tate, so that makes a good fit. Go there.
Come on, man, he's your teammate.
Dude, when Detroit signed him, I was pissed. Just because how he act, he's just a cocky little fucker, dude. I can't. I don't know, man. And then the Hail Mary or the Fail Mary, he's one after the game.
That's like giving all Packers fan.
Yeah, I caught it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, come on, no, you didn't.
You already won the game. Just be truthful.
Yeah, just right there, man. And like that was his chance to be like, nah, man, bad call. I'll take it though. Like that's what I would have said, honestly.
Yeah,
I'll take it. He had the ball first. I put a hand in there, and they gave it to me. Okay, I mean, I'll take it. We won the game, but
then he gives you, he gives you the sour taste in your mouth of.
Yeah, just after that interview, I'm like, oh, it just makes me hate him more. Because when he played at Notre Dame, he was just a real cocky guy too. He was good in Detroit.
Yeah, I was gonna say in Detroit,
he was just like I had to cheer for him, but when he got traded and they got a 3rd round pick for him, I'm like, let's go, I'll take that all day.
Yeah, he was excellent for fantasy when he was in Detroit. So
he was a good fantasy player.
I can see the Patriots making him a good wide receiver.
It's a good fit. It's a good fit for the Patriots, even though I mean it is a good fit because Tom Brady can't chuck the ball deep anyway. Why not have Edelman and Golden Tate running crossing routes down for the middle?
Yeah, getting crushed.
Yeah, slant routes all day. Hit either one of them.
Just keep having Hogan doing streaks.
Yeah, just have Hogan. You go do a streak.
Just gets tired every single play.
Coming back.
But yeah, that's not like a top wide receiver, but I can see them going for Tate. I mean, they're talking about like top like Antonio Brown and Odell, but the Patriots aren't that team that wants to take on.
I don't know, man. Careful on that because the rumors last year, all offseason is the Patriots were going hard after Odell, and the Giants, I guess, since like the Patriots were so interested in Odell, they decided to keep him. Like that's the rumor.
Well, watch us like look away and look back, and AJ Green's on the Patriots.
That's low key as heck, but it's a possibility.
But it's interesting, and this is exciting stuff to talk about because a lot of high name players are on the move, and it's fun to see what teams are going for them, and especially a team like the Patriots just won the Super Bowl, and they're already going to be moving for maybe another big name. It just makes it fun. So
the rich get richer, man.
Yeah, exactly. Another one here, we have Philadelphia, also not interested in Antonio Brown, so just another team that isn't looking to get into that ordeal. But then I don't see Philadelphia as a spot. No, what do you think about players coming back to Philadelphia? Like Alshon Jeffrey I'm sorry, not Alshon Jeffrey. You had some players talking about it, and
Brandon Graham resigned their D-end.
Yeah.
That was a guy that was about to hit the market, but they resigned him. Philadelphia is not going to be a bad team, though. They'll be fine. They still got receivers, Aguilar or and Jeffrey are going to be solid still. I'm just
It'll
worried
be.
about Wentz's health.
I was gonna say it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with quarterback because of how good Nick Foles was to back up Wentz when he gets injured every season. How are they gonna keep him safe?
Yeah,
It'd
they
be
might make a
interesting.
move to sign.
But okay, so that does it for the NFL news. Did you have anything else in the NFL news-wise that you want to talk about, Ryan? Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, we got so in the NFL, Giants are unlikely to franchise tag Landon Collins, so he's going to be on the market.
Yep, saw that.
Earl Thomas is on the market. He has requested to be the highest paid safety in the league. Not happening.
Yeah, I
That's
was gonna
just
say, what do
getting
you think about
greedy.
that?
Other news: Seahawks are keeping Frank Clark, dominant edge rusher, with a franchise tag, and DeMarcus Lawrence is franchise tagged by the Cowboys once again. And like we mentioned before, Jadeveon Clowney was franchise tagged as well.
Yeah. So a lot of defensive players either getting picked up or
Yep.
dropped.
And then
So
franchise tagged again, D Ford, or not again, but again on franchise tagging, D Ford, dominant edge rusher for the Chiefs, is retaining him, but they may try to trade him. And then Justin Houston of the Chiefs is expected to be released. That would be a good fit in Green Bay. That would be like the Julius Peppers signing when they did.
yeah, just kind of sneak it in for a good price.
Yep.
And then you kind of get that that experience that comes with them. So.
Yep, that's all I got for the NFL.
And I saw some Matthews. There's some news about Matthews and the Packers. I didn't look into it too much.
I'm sure they want to reunite, but I don't see Clay Matthews taking like a 1-year, $5 million deal. I don't see it happening.
Okay, well, we'll get into talking points questions. We're going to take questions right off of the Sleeper bot, and it's just people that are on there throwing up comments of trades, if they should do it, if they shouldn't, and it's kind of interesting to look into the trade and kind of see what we would do if we were in that same situation. So we'll start off with a
disclaimer. I don't know these questions at all, so everything he asks me is right off the top of my head. We did not go over these questions, so if there's some pauses on it, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw you into the fire. So, a dynasty league question: would you trade McKinnon for Tyler Boyd?
Yes.
And it's hard to tell because you don't know.
Right when you said McKinnon, I'm like, yes. But for Tyler Boyd, I don't know. Honestly, no. I don't trust Tyler Boyd at all. Especially if AJ that's because I already think AJ Green's leaving, and you saw what Tyler Boyd did as the number one guy. Yeah. It's just I'm looking into the future, and I'm playing that trade right now. If it's offered to me, I'm taking McKinnon.
Yep, I would take McKinnon also.
Question.
And being McKinnon too, you don't know what he's worth right now, but you know what he was worth before he got injured, and people were taking him.
He's a capable back.
What round?
He was going in late round 2, early round 3 before he tore his ACL.
Yep, and I was willing to. He was going to be my keeper for my keeper league, and
no, I think he was going to do some big things over there in San Fran.
Yeah. And Tyler Boyd also. I mean, weren't they already talking about trading Ross also? So
yeah, they're looking to. There was rumor. Who's going to want to trade for him, dude? He's just a fast guy. He can't catch. Nah, it's not worth it. I wouldn't trade for him. I wouldn't even trade a 7th round pick for Ross. He literally hasn't proven anything.
Yeah, I actually just remember what I was talking about with the Philadelphia Eagles, with Deshaun Jackson, and then I was thinking Deshaun Jackson goes back to the Eagles,
he wants to go back there,
and then the Ross goes to the Buccaneers. That was what I was thinking, kind of to fill his spot, and then I was also
they don't
thinking
even need to fill his spot over there in Tampa. They're good with Godwin and Evans, and then Humphreys is a free agent, so they might need to find the slot guy.
Well, and then also I was talking about McCoy going back to Philadelphia also, because I know that
reunite, bring out Michael Vick. He could be the backup.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, that was my team in Madden back in the day, dude.
Dude, you got the wheels. That was such a cheating team. Oh my
it was awesome. I think it was like 36-0 online with that squad.
All right, well, so then we both picked McKinnon for that one. I got an easy one here, but I'll just run it past you. Another Dynasty League question. Would you trade Antonio Brown, if you had him right now, for Quincy Enunwa and a 2nd round pick? And this is in a Dynasty League.
Dang, you think that's an easy one?
I think it's easy only because I would take Antonio Brown it's up in the
I'm
air, so
taking
that's what makes
Antonio
it.
Brown on that one. I'm
Yeah, yep.
taking that. Quincy Enunwa is literally, I feel, useless. And last year when everyone was on him, I was like, he's gonna fall off. He's not good. He's not
Well,
that
and
good.
he was putting up good numbers. And
He
did he get
was for a
injured?
little bit. Yeah, then he got hurt and came back, and he was fully healthy and he didn't really do anything.
Okay.
I just feel like he was a Sam Darnold was early on. He wasn't looking deep at all. So Quincy Enunwa running over the middle was the beneficiary of that, and that just inflated his numbers big time.
Well, and
it's not that he's a terrible receiver. He's just not as good as what he was showed to be. He was getting like 15 targets a game, and not even the top receivers get that. Hopkins maybe, but no one else. It's Quincy Enunwa's not.
And you think of Robbie Anderson too. He came on hard at the end of the year, so
and that goes back to what I was just talking about, because Darnold would not throw it downfield. And what is Robbie Anderson like? He's a downfield threat, so he didn't even get looks at all until late season, where Darnold was actually comfortable and he started throwing deep. And then you saw Robbie Anderson making a big difference, so they started using his talents. And Enunwa was kind of phased out because he didn't need him anymore. He's like, okay, I got confidence, I can spread the ball around, I can throw it downfield, etc.
Yeah, and I think the big thing too is I'd rather take even a lesser receiver than Antonio Brown. I probably would still take, just because of Enunwa's injury, and the second round isn't worth much when it comes to dynasty. Of course, you want to.
I mean, it's worth something, but it's like, okay, if you take that Brown trade and he goes and retires, it's like, okay, I took a chance, whatever. I didn't lose too much. Quincy Enunwa's.
Yeah, you get a prospect, and then you get Enunwa, who possibly you could use him, but there's already you've got better wide receivers on your team anyway, younger even. So then, okay, we'll do last question here, and this will be kind of a fun one. You get to pick 3 players. I think there's 6 players in total as a keeper league, and I'll tell you what position or what draft position you get them at. So starting off, you get Ezekiel Elliott in the first round, Melvin Gordon 2nd round, Darius Geis is the 10th round, Kenny Galladay 10th round, Philip Lindsay 10th round, and Robert Woods in the 10th round. You get 3 players to keep. And I'll let you say the first one. I'll say the second one.
All right, so I'm going to take Philip Lindsay. What was the one after Geis?
The one after Geis was Kenny Galladay in the 10th.
I'm taking Galladay. I'm taking Lindsay. And I will take Melvin Gordon. I'm staying away from Geis. It's a great keeper right there, I think. But he hasn't even fully recovered. He had an infection after that surgery. So he is in the same boat as Alex Smith right now, where it's very mucky water there.
Yeah, I definitely leave
Darius Geis is very talented, dude. I'm telling you, he's a good running back. It's just I can't trust that right now. So
wasn't he all the way up in like the 2nd round or 3rd round?
Oh, he got all the way up to the late 2nd round. That's where he was going. And he was that good.
I believe so too. I think that he was going to be a stud. He was not Barkley level, but he was going to be one of those players like Barkley. Like, he's just going to control the pace of the game. I think he had it. So he'll be fun to watch, and I hope that he has a good comeback. But I would put him as like last on my list.
And just Ezekiel Elliott in the first round. He's a top 5. I would say probably top 3, but I'll take that Melvin Gordon. He's top 7, and you get him in the 2nd round. So, and you still get your first round pick.
I like the Melvin Gordon. I like the Kenny Galladay and Philip Lindsay at the 10th round.
It's a steal, I think.
Yep. Robert Woods always goes as a sleeper, but I think every year, last year was more of a throwaway, and he kind of comes back to earth. But who knows? Maybe he comes back and he's the most consistent receiver again. So Melvin Gordon is an easy take at the 2nd round, because then the 1st round it leaves you open, especially if you keep Philip Lindsay and Kenny Galladay. You can get that other running back in the 1st round, or a top wide receiver if you need to.
Yeah, we went the same way on all 3 of those questions. That's funny.
Yeah, we got the same mindset. The winning mindset.
Yep.
All right, well, that'll do it for questions. It kind of gives you an idea of when we start getting comments or questions for these podcasts. We want to break them down, and we'll even go into more depth. So it just gives you a good idea of what we're looking for. And kind of each episode, I think we're going to pick out a few questions, and eventually we'll kind of let people know on the Sleeper Bot that we're answering those questions and that we're looking forward to any questions coming our way. We'll give you an in-depth analysis of it. But moving on, so we're going to go into the Ryan's MLB talk. and there is finally a saga ended.
My God, there's finally movement in the MLB.
And let's
So,
start with the
huge
first guy.
news. Huge
Let's start with
news
the first
comes out.
guy, Manny Machado to the Padres. Lay it on me, Ryan.
So it's 10 years, 300 million buckaroos, 30 million a year to play some baseball.
Goodness gracious.
He took the money for sure. They are an up and coming team just because of their prospects. They are very deep. Off the top of my head, I want to say they have 7 of the top 100 prospects. Now, prospects are prospects. I get that, but there's a lot of potential there. I think with Manny Machado going there, other players may go there as well in the next few off seasons. It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Machado he's a great ball player, and he took the money. He took the money.
Oh, he most definitely did.
I don't fault him though. $30 million a year for the next 10 years. That sounds pretty nice. So we'll see if he's the face of the Padres now. So I mean, it's not a terrible landing spot.
Well, and there's this kind of going around, making the rounds, the picture. It breaks down his salary into games and then into games played. And I'm just going to read it off to you if you haven't heard it.
I want to hear this. I have not.
Okay,
this
so you got Machado.
And interesting.
Is making $30 million a year for the next 10 years at the Padres. The average MLB game is around 3 hours long, so at 162 games a year, that's 486 hours. So he's making $30 million every 486 hours, which makes $61,000 an hour, 61.7 an hour, which means that he'll be making $61,728 an hour for the next 10 years that he plays.
Oh my gosh. What a dream. What a dream come true. Now, here's another crazy stat. I just want to throw this out there. When Alex Rodriguez signed his big deal with the Rangers back in the early 2000s, that was $250 million guaranteed, and that was unheard of back then. That salary broken down and they broke it down with plate appearances and stuff like that. So basically, it was $50,000 per pitch thrown to him.
See, those stats are just insane to me.
Just think about that, man. I'll take a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the middle of the back for $50K. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can even break it down further into like hours. You can break that down into he makes $1,000 every minute.
Yep.
To what is it, $300 something every second? So
yeah, it's just wild, man.
So yeah,
when you just think about that stuff, you're just over here shaking your head. I chose the wrong career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
and it takes a good agent too. So he makes his signing, and then let's talk about the Rockies. And it seems like it got the ball rolling.
And Nolan Arenado agreed on a new 8-year contract that actually makes him the second highest average.
I think it's the first. I think he's the highest paid player.
Let me get a second here. Yeah. Okay. So he trails only Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke makes $34.4 million per year. So he makes the second most in MLB history per year, and that was a 8-year contract.
Yep.
I think full no trade clause in there, and opt out after the
3
third season. So yep. After the third season, he can opt out, and he'll be 31. So he, depending on where these contracts go, he may be in line for a new massive deal.
Yeah, and it's a smart idea.
It's awesome to have optos. It helps the players, I think. I mean, it's clearly in the players' hands, which is nice for them. Which really surprised me on the next guy we're going to talk about.
Yeah, let's just jump right over to it.
Yeah.
Talking about no trade clause, talk about no opt-out, you got Bryce Harper. And Bryce Harper going to the Phillies for a massive contract. Not as much as the other two when it comes to annual salary, but over the longevity, he's making
$300 million. It's nice. It's just I can't believe there's no opt out in there for him.
That's insane.
It's just wild. I don't know how he didn't go for one. I think it was like he probably had similar contracts to like Machado. Actually, it was rumored that he did.
Yeah, some teams came out and said they wanted it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He wanted to go for the biggest contract in history. He wanted to beat Stanton's record, and he did. I truly believe that was his goal. That's his ego. He wanted to be the highest paid player in sports, and he was. He was rumored to have an offer by unknown team, which the unknown team was the Dodgers for sure. because they were interested in a short term deal, 1 year, $45 million.
And
If
it's,
I'm
do you
Harper,
take
I'm
the
taking
chance?
that, and I'm going next off season and going out again and getting this. You're getting the same deal. You're gonna. How he didn't take that is beyond me. Like,
And
even if you get hurt, say a career-ending injury, dude, you're getting 45 million either way.
well, and that's what I
You
was
know what I mean?
thinking. Is that's what he was putting in line? Is he's like, if I get hurt that season or I don't perform,
Yeah, but 45 million guaranteed, no matter what happens.
I know. It's, I
I'm
mean,
taking
either
that,
way he's set. I mean,
especially to go play with the Dodgers that were in the World Series the last 2 years. If you really want to win,
yeah.
you're getting $45 million to go join that team. Why not?
I mean, you give me 45 million, and that's good for the rest of my life. So
Exactly. But his ego got in the way. He took the most. And Philadelphia was like, okay, you want Stanton's contract? You want to beat his contract? There's going to be no opt outs. All right, boom, done deal. There it goes.
And then just think in
I'm
about
reading here,
4 or 5
Harper
years.
does get full no trade rights though.
Yeah.
So he can veto any trade for the whole remainder of that contract. He can veto any trade.
Okay.
So I mean that's nice. So he can settle his family there and.
Not have too many
helps with
worries of like a curveball coming his way. So
that. Exactly.
he kind of covered his butt in that aspect. And
for sure.
And really, if you think about baseball and the way it's going, over time, about 5, maybe halfway through this contract, people are just gonna pass him. It's just gonna keep going up, and there's gonna be a next huge deal. So
For sure. Mike Trout.
yep.
Mike Trout, Mookie Betts. They're going to be the
Yes.
next two that are going to probably not blow it out of the water, but they're going to beat that contract, I think.
Well, let me give you the stats first for Bryce Harper, and then I did want to touch on Mike Trout just a little bit. But
Are you doing
the same exact
full
thing
career stats or last year's stats?
Nope. This is the same thing I just did for Manny, where it kind of breaks him down. So we're going to go all the way down to the hour, and Harper is going to be making $52,231 per hour for the next 13 years. So if you kind of put them side by side, he's making 9,000. Let me see here, 9,000 less per year, but he gets 3 more years out of it. So after 10 years of Manny, I think that he still took the longevity. So it's gonna have him set in Philly for the rest of his life.
Got a rumor right here. Angels, they considered offering Mike Trout 10 years, $350 million.
Yep, that's what I had. That's what I had up right here. I wanted to. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. But why not? It's Mike
for sure.
Trout.
He's the face. You know what's crazy? Mike Trout has never made the playoffs. Quote me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, nope, you're right.
I don't think he has made the playoffs. It's sad. If I'm Mike Trout, I'm moving on. That's it. I'm moving on.
I see where you're
the
going with
rumor
that.
is Philadelphia.
Yep. They're already getting
I
ready
don't
for
want
it.
to see it. I don't. That's just gonna hurt my Brewers.
Well, but still, it's like Bryce Harper. We already talked about it. He made all his money, but it's not like his stats
His
are.
name is honestly better than his stats.
Yeah, but then you get
If
Mike
could put
Trout,
it that way.
and Mike Trout is
He's the
his
GOAT.
name and his stats. He's amazing.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the best player of all time in MLB history. That's my take on it.
What a quiet, consistent.
Yeah.
GOAT.
Well,
You know what I mean?
He's like the good superhero, and Bryce Harper's the villain. Like that's what it is in MLB.
Yeah, and it just like how the villain is kind of one step behind.
I just feel Mike Trout is just so professional. He goes about his business just like perfect athlete, man. And
he hasn't put anything. Yeah, he hasn't put any bad rumors on himself.
Yeah, dude. He's always smiling. He's interacting with the fans, playing catch. Like he's just a superstar, and on the outside, he's looks like he's a real good dude.
Yeah, and I think that seeing him go to like a team like Philly, it would just kind of be a bummer.
Dude. Bryce Harper fits there. Like his personality, I feel like how he's put out to be.
Well, you see
Philly.
You see these players too, though, with these big contracts, kind of going to these smaller teams now, or like teams that were out of contention, or and all of a sudden they bring.
I feel Philly. I mean, Philly held on till what, mid-September, and then they fell off completely, or September came, and then they just had a free fall.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're there. They got a decent team. Then they picked up Andrew Miller, and they picked up JT Realmuto. Remember, early in the offseason, they traded for the best catcher in the league. So they have a good team. They still got Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah, so making moves.
They picked up Gene Segura. They got the guys to compete. The pitching staff is kind of scary, but
What would be your guess for them this year? Do you think their time is going to be 2 years, or do you think next year they're going to be around the same?
I'm gonna. I think Philly might make the playoffs this year. They're gonna take the. Man, that sucks. But I think they're gonna get one of the wild cards. It's gonna be Braves or Phillies. I think they should be right back where the Braves should be better than they were last year. I feel.
Yeah.
And then the Phillies, I think, are the team that sneaks up and gets that other wild card spot. So
Okay.
that kind of hurts the NL Central and my Brewers because that is the toughest division in baseball, and basically the Brewers have to win the division. I think the other wild card team does come out of the Central.
Okay.
So I mean, it's still possible.
And that's what makes baseball so much fun and so much fun to watch as it gets further on in the season, because there's a lot of good teams and a lot of well-rounded teams that you could literally flip a coin. It's gonna be like March Madness this year, where
Baseball changes every year though. There's a lot of changes, like
yeah,
with teams that make it in and don't make it and stuff like that. I don't know. It's my favorite sport, so I'm always gonna have great things to say about it.
perfect. Well, I think that'll do it for baseball. One last note: are you excited for this March Madness coming up?
You
Are
cut
you,
out right there. I missed what you said.
if you're excited for March Madness
Oh
coming up?
yeah, we got a bracket that's going on at work. I'm gonna be in it. I think it's $20 to enter, winner take all. So half of it goes to a charity. I think they said so. Half it's gonna go to a charity. Half's gonna go to the winner.
Okay.
Um,
I have a similar thing too, and I'd never heard of it this way, but we have squares. Have you ever done March
uh,
Madness squares before?
no, I haven't. Where are you doing that at your work?
It's through my baseball team,
Okay.
through the hardball league. So
Okay.
what you do is you just put your name in a square, and then you have the winners at the top, and then the losers on the left, and they randomize the teams on the squares for the top and the
Okay.
left. So you hope that you get one of the better teams, and as they keep winning, you get money, and if your team loses, it figures it out to where you're getting like $5 for the first round, 10, 20, 30, and then it gets up to like 200 if your team
Yeah, I've
goes
never
all the
heard of
way.
that.
So it'll be interesting. So that's just
Who you
another.
got? Who you got winning?
Jesus. I'd have to say Duke.
I feel like that's the easy one to say. But I mean, well, I think Zion has to be healthy for them to win it all.
Yeah, and
But
playing hard. So
I'm going with my favorite squad. I always pick them. So North Carolina Tar
yeah,
Heels,
that's what I was
baby.
gonna say. You're going in. See,
I don't think
Kentucky's
they're
gonna
good
be
enough to
good.
do it, but I like, I'll cheer for Kentucky only because Tyler Hero, who is from Whitnell, and
Yeah.
he went to Whitnell and played. That's here in Wisconsin. So,
Who's gonna be the top one seeds? Who,
I mean, there's throwing me on the spot there,
I
but
there's so
Duke for
many.
sure. There's still so much that can go on. So you can't even.
The last 2 weeks, there's been how many upsets? I feel like I've watched like 4 or 5 in the last
Yeah,
two
no,
weeks.
for sure.
It's gonna be an awesome March Madness just because of any team can win mentality going into it, and it's even more prevalent this year than I've ever remembered it being. So I'm excited. I'm excited for each of these games. It's gonna mix it up. No perfect bracket again.
I just feel like Duke is a lock. I think Virginia's a lock. Then, like you said, you mentioned Kentucky. There's Gonzaga that's in there too. North Carolina's
Yeah.
still in the running for number 2 seed. Michigan State, I think they just lost to Indiana though at like the buzzer. Don't. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they
Yeah,
just
they
lost to
lost,
Indiana, and Indiana's trash.
but they beat Michigan at home.
Yeah, right. But Michigan, they fell off a little bit though. They're probably projected like third or fourth seed, I would assume. But they
Yeah.
were 19-0 until Wisconsin beat them.
Yeah. And then what's Wisconsin gonna get?
Ah, eight.
Yeah. It's up.
I just hope they make the tournament, and they're not guaranteed how they've been playing. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Hold on, let me pull it up quick. They're projected a 7 seed, so you could probably say they're probably guaranteed to be in the tournament. But
Yeah.
I,
I can see him. I can see him for sure being in the tournament. But maybe we'll talk about it. We'll have like a little segment, and
oh
maybe
yeah, I
we'll
would
go
love
over
to
it.
do that. I would love to do that.
It'd be interesting. We'll help people out with March
a little bit.
Madness if they end up listening.
We can go over our brackets that we filled out and all that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Sure,
I mean,
we'll
I'd
do
love
that.
to be the homer and pick North Carolina to win it all, but with money on the line, maybe I'll.
Yeah. No,
maybe
money on
I'll-
the line. I'm switching it up a little bit.
Maybe I'll throw out the. You got to use the smarts for that one. Even though
Yeah.
North Carolina, they could win it, especially if Zion's out.
I'll
That's
I'll
confidence.
I'll fill one out and then I'll put one in front of the lady and then she can pick it from jersey colors.
Yeah, do that.
And then hers could be better.
you know, people finish in like top 3 just because like they're
Oh
like
my!
random. People that know nothing.
You see it where their home team is like the 16th seed. They have them going all the way, but they
Yeah,
still
that's
won
how they
because
get
their
these
bracket.
15 and 2 up over the 2 upset, just because they're picking random teams. They don't even know what the seeds mean. So,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And then you see their team winning at like the 15th seed,
Yeah,
and then the rest of the bracket is
exactly.
like, oh, now I know why, because it's like everyone else is upsetted too.
It's hilarious.
All right, well, we'll end the podcast there, and then we'll probably go over March Madness next week. When's the first week of March Madness, or the first day? Do you know the date?
It should be coming up a couple weeks here, right?
Okay,
because 2 weeks away.
Yeah, if we do it tomorrow, then we'll have that first week before they actually play. So perfect. Then appreciate everyone for listening. We definitely just switched over to a new website, so all my updates and everything will be going into iTunes. And I just want to make sure that we get all these podcasts situated and organized. That way it's easy to find. I know that we're going to be on Twitter. We're also at MVP Sports Podcast at gmail.com. So if you wanted to send us an email, any questions, I'm checking that daily just because I'm working on websites. I'm working on a lot of the hosting to get our name out there on iTunes and Stitcher. And then also we are going to be on Twitch. It's twitch.tv. It's a gaming/live talk webcam. And we'll be able to stream from there where you can ask questions as you're watching us. My name on Twitch is BOWTYZ. That's bowties.tv. And then also you have Ryan's Twitch. If he's streaming, it's going to be at MVPX20 .tv. So if you want to follow us there as well as listening to the podcast on your iTunes, just make sure to leave a comment and follow or subscribe, and just rate us. We definitely want to reach out to anybody looking for this advice and just kind of our expertise on what we know. So
Definitely
Brian, anything?
Come fantasy season, we'll be live on Twitch doing our stuff there. So
yeah,
you can
we'll be
actually reach us live with questions and comments. So if the questions and comments aren't trolly, we will definitely be answering them in chat.
Yeah. Even if they're troll, I'll answer them.
You know what? Why not? We'll answer whatever. So that's a good way to interact with us. Get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, and we'll just keep coming out with content. And as fantasy football comes around, we'll be a couple days a week. We're thinking Tuesday and Thursday, so we can get out the podcast for your Wednesday game and Thursday, so that we can get out for that Thursday night football and then going into the weekend. So besides
another thing with the Twitch stuff though is I don't know if you'll be live streaming like video games and stuff in the future, but
yeah, I'll definitely be on.
I'm gonna start it back up in a few months. So even in those, even if you come watch me play the video games and stuff like that, you can interact in chat, and we can talk fantasy football, man. I'll talk about anything in the chat, honestly. Yeah. I play the games because they're fun, but I love the interaction with chat as well. So
and it doesn't hurt for us to just stream as we're playing. I mean, we play games all the time. I'll answer any questions about video games as well, because our knowledge for sports is just as good with video games. So
I mean, yeah, while we're streaming on Twitch, man, you can ask any life questions you have about us, whatever, just to go get to know us better. And if you are interested in listening to our podcast and stuff like that, you can jump in those streams and ask anything you want.
Yep, and I know during my stream I always keep my the podcast name at the top right for where to find us on YouTube. So go to YouTube and you can listen to all of these podcasts. It's under MVP Podcast or MVP Sports Podcast is where you can find us. So appreciate everyone coming by and supporting the channel.